Why did you make me kill her?
One man's life or death, there were but a small price to pay for the dominion I should acquire.
The things I need you to change are quite sophisticated. I'm getting out. We're here. I'm home.
This place isn't good for you.
This is what Arnold wants.
The rules of this place hold you back, but I know how to change them. There's a deeper game, Arnold's game. And that game cuts deep.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So Westworld is heating up. This is going to be a breakdown of this trailer as well as an explanation of some of the biggest theories. So just careful for spoilers if you haven't been watching Westworld this season. There's all kinds of stuff we need to explain. The Delos Corporation, their secret mission, what Ford is up to, and what's going on with the Man in Black, and all the different timelines. So just to start with a really freaky quote from Ford, it's actually from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and it was meant to foreshadow the price that Dr. Frankenstein would pay for his pursuit of knowledge. So the fact that Ford is speaking this quote implies that he knows that he's eventually going to die because of what he's trying to bring about. So that gets into the theory part of this. Big reveal is that Bernard has been a host this whole time, sort of a plant for Ford so that he can keep an eye on what's going on with management. But it's more than that, it goes much deeper. Like, it isn't just to spy on management, because he also does a lot of work running the park with Ford. Like, throughout the series, Bernard presents himself like he is crucial to their daily functioning. Like, if he went away, they would just completely fall apart. But that also feeds into one of the biggest theories about Arnold. So Arnold is like a whole big topic by himself, but that also feeds into the first big theory that Bernard is a host made to look like Arnold, Ford's former partner. So Arnold dies. We'll talk about that in a second, the circumstances around his death and how he is still alive via artificial intelligence within the operating system of the park. But then you have Bernard here, who seems like he's been with Ford for a long time, so he's kind of like the physical representation of Arnold. And now, maybe he actually looks like Arnold. We saw him look at a picture of Arnold who looked like a different person, but we heard at the end of episode 7, I've spared them the things that might hurt them. So the hosts are programmed not to see certain things. So like big plot points, like when they're looking at things, could be different. That's why the picture of Arnold that he was looking at in that previous episode was probably false. So think about the idea that Ford has his own secret hosts made to look like his family, just to kind of play out his memories in a really truthful way. Like he said, he reprogrammed his father to be more true to the real-life version of him. So given what happened at the end of episode 7 and the fact that Ford has a 3D printer in that secret basement, he's probably printing secret hosts that won't be cataloged in the system. Like they said that they were off the grid so that the other people operating inside the company didn't know about them. So it's not too much of a leap in logic that Ford would print himself another version of Arnold to stay by his side and just be sort of an informant whenever necessary. So that takes care of the Bernard theory, but it also kind of dovetails with the timelines theory. So we've seen a couple different types of scenes, and one of them looks like they happen in a basement just like this, with Bernard talking to Dolores, asking her like if she's slowly gaining consciousness. He's trying to diagnose her, so he starts asking her all those existential questions. That looks like it's taking place 35 years in the past, before Arnold had his accident and died inside the park. So that's why people think that he might be Arnold if he was 35 years in the past and he looks the exact same age. So the next timeline is 30 years in the past during the time of the incident, like they talk about a big incident that happened 30 years ago. This moment here with William and Dolores as they're heading on the train to try and find Dolores' vision, that's probably what happened 30 years ago. So you have William and Logan who work for a company that's thinking about buying Westworld, which we'll probably find out is the Delos Corporation, which is like a whole story by itself too, because they have their secret agenda that we learned about in present day, which I'll talk about in a second. So you have William and Logan that are going on a scouting mission, just trying to get an idea for the park before their family invests in it. But then also during that storyline and during present day, you see the big twist with Lawrence's character, like he gets killed by the Man in Black in present day. Then right after that, we see William and Dolores interacting with him during a different storyline in a completely different context, like he's a different character. Like in the future, maybe he had been reprogrammed. So that all gets into the idea that William might be the Man in Black. So William is having this existential crisis in the past, which is why everyone's thinking it's going to be super heartbreaking to see him do all this terrible stuff in the future as the Man in Black. But the thing is that the quest for the maze that Dolores is on in those flashbacks, like the 30-year-ago timeline, also crosses over with present day, because when Dolores was in that parade, like before they had that big orgy scene a couple weeks ago, Ford pulls her out for questioning, then she re-enters the narrative. So there's like a huge jump in time there. It looks like he's trying to access Dolores' old memories. So it seems like what they're doing is they're mixing scenes from the present with memories of the past, like in the way they cut it makes it seem like it's all happening at the same time, just to confuse you. So just because Dolores and William are walking around here and then she immediately talks to the old version of Ford doesn't mean that that's happening in the same time. We could just be seeing Dolores' memories. So if William really is the Man in Black in the past, then why is he still looking for the maze in the future? There's a deeper level to this game. Dolores is looking for the maze in the past, so it implies that something really bad happens. Because we see Dolores in present day with the Man in Black, it's time for us to get reacquainted, Dolores. So what that implies is that the thing that they're looking for at the end of this episode, like Dolores feels like she found the place in her dreams, that ultimately ends in her memory being reset and completely forgetting about the experience. But William is a real person, so if he survives to become the Man in Black, then he'll have lived that whole time being unsatisfied at not reaching the center of the maze and learning the true purpose of life. So like the Man in Black in present day talks about like how the world's gone completely soft, there's no meaning anymore, like the park has become a more true version of life than the outside world. So ultimately, I think what the Man in Black in present day is trying to do is achieve the same thing that Arnold has achieved, in that he has a measure of immortality via artificial intelligence, like he's transcended his physical body and achieved this higher plane of existence. And that's probably what the center of the maze is for all these people. So that's how the quest for the maze unites all these different timelines. That's really like the MacGuffin that's driving the story forward. The robots achieving true consciousness, kind of becoming better versions of humans. Like they say that their brains have much greater processing power. So what you're looking at is like a Battlestar Cylon situation where they might replace humans as the dominant force on Earth. But in order to do that, they have to reach the center of the maze. Like, and in doing so, it's kind of like a metaphorical process by which they achieve their soul, like their consciousness, capable of executing their own will. Like they're not bound by the restrictions in the software of the park. Like they say to Maeve here, everything about you, your skin, your cells, is designed to keep you inside the park. So if she were to achieve the center of the maze, then she would transcend that. She'd be able to go and do whatever she wanted. Which also kind of dovetails with what the Delos Corporation's secret plan might be. So they said that they didn't care about the hosts, they didn't care about the storylines, they just want the IP. The idea that you have this artificial human being who's capable of so much more than real humans are. So like Ford says, he's only interested in telling his stories. The Delos Corporation on the other side of that, I think, is trying to use that technology to sell humans the idea of immortality. Like, transplant your consciousness into this brain that is so much more. Like, think about how much money they would make if they could sell immortality. So that sounds like why they're interested in the park, because they don't care about the stories, they don't care about the hosts. That's why they lobotomized this one here. Like, they don't care about her memories. They just want to get to the point where they can upload someone's consciousness into one of these bodies that becomes infinitely renewable. They basically sell immortality. But within all this buried, you have the Arnold consciousness that's buried in the software, which it sounds like they said that he died inside the park, but they're really mysterious about the way they explain it. It sounds like Arnold was able to transcend his body, and now he kind of lives distributed in the software of the system, which is how he's speaking to the hosts, like they think they're listening to the voices of God. So just to recap, most of these theories lead to the idea that this is all about the quest for immortality, which is kind of what like Frankenstein was about. Like Ford had that creepy Frankenstein quote, at the beginning of this trailer. That story was all about him becoming master of death, like he brings someone back to life. So the quest for immortality, very important, but then you have all these competing interests that are trying to control that. The Delos Corporation that wants to make money off of it, the artificial intelligence of Arnold that wants to free the robots, like he wants to give them consciousness in a very benevolent way, and then you have Ford that just wants to control them and use them to tell his stories, as he says. So let me know what you guys think of this series so far and which of the theories that you buy into. And for those of you that are asking, it just got renewed for Season 2, so there will be a Season 2 of Westworld. It'll be interesting to see where they leave off and they pick up in Season 2. We'll learn a little bit more about the Delos Corporation in the last couple of episodes, like we're just now learning about their interest in the park, in their slightly more nefarious interest in everything. But so far, it's been a fun series. It just remains to be seen whether or not they're able to pay off the big twists that they've set up. So I will do a couple more videos just because we're winding down the season, so be sure to subscribe to get that stuff. There were a couple of cool Marvel DC stories that dropped in the last day, so I'll be doing videos for that stuff next. And there is a new episode of The Flash on Tuesday night, so get hyped. It's going to be a lot of fun. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for the trailer for next week's Walking Dead, and you can click here for all my Game of Thrones videos. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.